first update for Modern Warfare is here, and with it came a few updates. Nothing too major like what we saw last week with the launch of Season 4, but that's kind of to be expected just 1 week in from a larger launch like such. Though, that said, there's still a handful of things that you should definitely be aware of, so with that in mind, today, we're going to cover everything that changed with the first update of Season 4 for Modern Warfare and Warzone. So, as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you like out of this, and what are you hoping to see in the future? As well, if you are new to the channel, perhaps a part of that nearly 72% of viewers who are not subscribed, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare and Warzone on a daily basis. But anyways, let's jump into it. There really were no back-end changes, so we can go over all the front-end changes here and what you can see as playable within this week of Modern Warfare. First, let's start out with the playlist updates, because we had changes to MP and Warzone, but on the MP side of things, we ended up seeing introduced was Realism Ground War, Gunfight Blueprints, Gunfight 3v3 Snipers Only, One in the Chamber, Weekend Warfare, and Warzone Rumble. Those are your playlists you'll have on offer until at least Thursday or Friday. But for Realism Ground War, it's Ground War but with realism attributes, with minimal HUD, headshots are lethal, tanks and such though are still in play, which is the unfortunate case with realism as opposed to my personal favorite variation of boots on the ground war with only ATVs, SUVs, and rovers, so those things still apply, but again, it's just the sort of modifiers that you have with realism of that minimal HUD and headshots being lethal. But it's an interesting twist no less as opposed to what you may normally see. The only downside though is that if you are a fan of ground war, it removes standard ground war for the next week or so. That's something to be aware of. Gunfight Blueprints has been a mode that hasn't really changed in the last few weeks. We've seen it there as a stable kind of mode over, I want to say, the last 3 weeks, maybe even longer, but that's a gunfight variation featuring cosmetic blueprint builds of weapons as opposed to just the base weapons with attachments or without, depending on the match's weapon pool yield. So that's a fun one to jump into. There's also, though, on offer this week, Gunfight 3v3 Snipers Only, which if you're a sniper or like sniping, it is a very fun variation if you ask me. It sees you using, as the name suggests, only snipers only, though bear in mind that also means you'll be using things like the marksman rifles of your Kar 98K, your Mark II, your EBR, as well as your designated sniper category of the HDR, AX50, and Dragunov. That's just something that kind of goes together. How the camos do, you can't get platinum sniper rifles without completing the marksman and vice versa, so it throws it all into one group there and offers a little bit more weapons to use in gameplay as opposed to just those 3. But also, I feel like from my experience, this variation probably is the one in Gunfight that yields the most trash talk, so be aware of that one. Maybe get your game face on, but that's a fun one to play around with. One in the Chamber was added in, which this is the classic returned. It's been in the game files for quite some time now, a few weeks now actually, I think like 3 or 4, in which you could play in private matches against bots, but it's finally here in a public setting. You'll be pitted in a free-for-all against other players, and all you have is 1 shot at a time to your name, and you either need to get the kill, which all shots are lethal, by the way. It's not a matter of you need to hit a headshot. If you hit the body, they're going to end up dying, or if you don't hit it, you'll have to get a melee to get that kill. You have 3 lives total, and the highest score wins, and that's essentially One in the Chamber in a nutshell. Though, unlike the classic variations, there's a couple of different changes here with this, in which you actually spawn with different weapons per game, as opposed to just pistols in the classics like you saw then. I know the first game on that I jumped on to record, which unfortunately my capture card crashed, we had an MG34 with 1 round in the drum as opposed to just the pistol. So it's like a random rotation of guns, which is an interesting curveball for this, definitely, especially because pistols are usually known for, of course, quick ADS and being able to snap onto your targets like that. So when you have things like a bulky MG34, it shifts the meta of how you want to attack a one-shot approach. Though also one thing to note that is, I think, kind of unfortunate about this, and I'm not sure if this is a bug currently or a designed or conscious change made to the mode from the classic, but people can actually join up late in the game. So that means that you could be already out, have used your 3 lives, maybe even be sitting there for 2-3 minutes at a time, waiting for the game to end, and somebody new will join in as a fresh spawn, meaning they have 3 lives as well. And so if you're last alive, that kind of makes it a little bit unfair to you that you may have had gone 5 minutes, only dying twice, but somebody that ends up joining in has 3 lives now to use against you. And also it keeps the match going on and on and on. So rather than opposed to the quick little 3-minute free-for-all or so that it's always been in the past, this changes up the entire playstyle of the game. So I'm hoping that gets fixed out, but other than that, jump in because it is a ton of fun. Then we of course saw Weekend Warfare continue on, which is a little interesting to me. It's said that this will be going away as of Thursday, but I mean, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, doesn't really look to be much of a weekend playlist here for me. That's more the weekday, but you can still jump in, play it in that mosh pit of different modes and maps if you would like to. And then Warzone Rumble continues on this week, seemingly for maybe the duration. I don't think they specified any end date or when that would go away, but it is that 50v50 game mode that we talked about once again with the launch of Season 4, in which it's different variations and smaller chunks, I guess, of the Warzone map, though still much bigger than your standard 6v6 map, obviously, and then it's 50v50. Kind of like a mini ground war approach where you have a basic spawn. You don't have flags of A, B, C, D, and E, but instead it's just a giant TDM, and then you end up going 50v50. So utilizing some Warzone mechanics, but also utilizing some MP mechanics, kind of moshing those two together, and you got Warzone Rumble. But then that translates over then into when we can talk about the Warzone adjustments, because we saw some changes, but also not within Warzone. And I say this firstly in the fact that that weekend free trial is now over. So for those that were playing gunfight maps, for those that were playing MP, maybe on the free-to-play version, that's unfortunately gone away now. So that is something that firstly, on a user interface and doesn't clutter up the menus anymore, we now have it back to everything visible. But we have on offer this week solos, duos, trios, and quads for Battle Royale, plus Warzone Rumble. Interestingly enough, though, Plunder is not actually there. So Plunder once again getting the boot, though in the Infinity Ward tweet talking about today's playlist update, they did say for Warzone players, we'll be bringing Blood Money back this Thursday, June 18th. So that's something we'll talk about Thursday and the significance here of this in just a second, but we'll be seeing Plunder return in some sort of variation here in a couple of days, just a little bit longer without it, which is a bummer, but at least we know an end date here for that. But that's the MP and Warzone side of things, the front-facing changes that you can expect here in terms of playable stuff. But on the store side of things, we ended up seeing two introductions here for the featured bundles, that being the Wendigo bundle and then the Notice Me 3 bundle. Now, for the Wendigo bundle, this will cost you 2,400 COD points if you are interested in this, to which you end up getting the Taiga Kruger skin, the Psychosis Assault Rifle, the Evil Manifest Submachine Gun, the Sasquatch Operator finishing move, which includes a new doggo, the Crevasse Melee, the Abominable Charm, the What They Send Kruger Quip, the Polar Pow calling card, the Snowball Smiles emblem, and the Out in the Cold spray. Now, for once, I'm actually really excited about an overall bundle like this, something that has an awesome uniform, two blueprints that, while they're not necessarily weapons that I use constantly, I totally would go out of my way to use these because they do look so cool, and also they end up coming with cryo dismemberment. So as with other sort of tracer pack bundles that offer some gibbing features and everything, this one offers a cryo dismemberment, to which it freezes off enemies' limbs or wherever you shoot them and then expels them. So it's pretty gruesome, but pretty freaking cool. Then we end up having the Notice Me 3 bundle, in which we end up getting the Dream Dasher submachine gun, which is the Striker 45, the Chibi Trooper charm, and the Cute Cadet sticker. Now, this is one that is a lesser priced one for 800 COD points. It looks pretty awesome, but again, I'm not really a Striker 45 user. The other things on that Wendigo bundle may pull me the other way for that one if I were to choose one or the other. But one thing to note is that we're actually going to be getting a lot of Striker 45 variants this season, it seems like. From the 33 bundles that are in the database and in the game files right now for Season 4, there's actually a decent handful of them that are for the Striker 45. So that'll finally be getting some love, but that's the shop updates that we saw here, outside of stuff that could be new for you, like things in the operators and the blueprints section that is a user end change that is a daily rotation, whereas the featured items at the top of the store are across the board for everybody every single Tuesday and sometimes Friday. But that's the changes that were made here within Modern Warfare and Warzone with today's update, though curiously enough, some of the stuff that we thought may have been weekly timers actually don't look to work out like that, and that's why we come back to Thursday being a potential, again, smaller update of sorts, maybe even when Plunder is added back in. But when you take a look at the weekly challenges, and also then if you are looking for new intel missions for Warzone, that's something that if you look at the weekly challenges, it says that the week 2 challenges are locked for another day, and at the time of recording this, about 10 hours. So that means that that timer is going to then refresh and unlock at 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow night. So we seemingly have an update going live in the middle of the night, which is weird, maybe just for these challenges, but maybe also for, again, we see Plunder added in that capacity as well. But some stuff that is interesting and some stuff we'll still see coming during the week, and I, again, expect probably, as we've seen on rotation the last couple of weeks now, another smaller update to the shop, maybe on Friday and going into the weekend playlist. But that's some stuff to keep an eye out for. But overall, that is the changes that were made here today for Modern Warfare and Warzone. So that's where we're going to wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think here of this update? Like it, don't like it, what are you hoping to see in the future? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We get you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, there's the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to check up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But all that said and out of the way, thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.